Now, Dr. Thompson described a few of the accomplishments of our next speaker, Dr. Arnold, but I'd like to actually add to those. She's a well-respected leader in the field of neonatology and is attending physician at the Baylor's College of Medicine and medical director of the Simulation Center at Texas Children's. She and her husband, Bill, are the proud parents of 2 adopted children, Will and Zoe. And in 2013, just after adopting their second child, Dr. Arnold was diagnosed with stage 3 choriocarcinoma, a rare form of endometrial cancer. Currently cancer-free, Dr. Arnold is a strong advocate for cancer awareness, supporting people who are going through treatment and inspiring others with her story of survivorship. She is also an activist for neonatal and pediatric health, infertility, and adoption, something that many of our cancer survivors can identify with. Dr. Arnold has also received many professional accolades, including the Ray Helfer Award for Innovation in Medical Education from the Academic Pediatric Association, Compassionate Doctor Recognition in 2010 and 2011, and the Patient's Choice Award for 2008 through 2012 for Vitals.com. And in case you miss her television show, The Little Couple, you may have also seen her on Oprah, The Today Show, Dr. Oz, and The Doctors. So let's give a very warm round of applause for Dr. Arnold.
Wow, what a great crowd. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. So thank you, Dr. Thompson. Thank you, Mary. I mean, you guys, this is a great group, I can tell. The reception was lovely. I'm honored to be here amongst fellow cancer survivors and to be able to hopefully share with you all a little bit of my story. I hope to not put you to sleep, number one. But number two, I hope that you laugh a little. And I'm sure all the survivors out there will have a lot in common with me. So what I'm going to talk about is survivorship, living with grace. It took me a long time to put this talk together in my mind because I'm sure many of you out there who've gone through cancer or are going through cancer, you know it's hard to talk about those things and to figure out, you know, what are the pieces that I want to talk about. Jake and Lisa, you shared your stories and you shared some very important things that hit home with me, very, very much so. And so I'm going to try to do the same and bring it back to grace. And what is the definition of grace? Well, I looked it up in Webster's dictionary because I'm not a writer and had to remind myself. But going through cancer and now being in the survivorship phase of that process, I really wanted to think about what are the qualities that I wanted as a survivor to exhibit, and I want to be that person that survives with grace, because I can tell you that going through cancer treatment, I think it was not very graceful, and I'm going to share with you why. But when I looked up grace, it's basically a quality that gives something special worthiness, basically. It's the idea that it's the quality that gives something special worth, and I think all of us out there who have either been touched by someone with cancer in your lives, who take care of patients with cancer, or who've gone through cancer yourself, are someone special. And so we all exhibit grace, and that's what I'm going to share with you a little bit. So growing up, as I mentioned, I was a very independent woman. I like to do things on my own. You know, I had worked really hard in school. I did everything you could imagine. Even though I was a little person, I was a cheerleader and a student government vice president. And, you know, I just was always a go-getter. And I never thought of myself as wanting help or needing help. And oftentimes when people offer me help, I'd say, oh, no, I got it, you know, very independent. Well, when you're going through cancer treatments, it's actually one of those times when I realized that maybe it's okay to say yes, to not be afraid, to just graciously, appreciatively say thank you for those that are offering to help. It was hard because I didn't like to receive help, but I realized during that time, and this was a very hard lesson for me to learn, that whether it be a friend bringing me cupcakes or a dinner so we didn't have to cook at night after getting home from a treatment, that accepting the help of those around you who love you, it means a lot. It means a lot to them and it means a lot to you. And so what I want to share with you all who may already know this, don't be afraid to say yes when others want to help you. And of course, the biggest helper in my life is my husband who's sitting right there, the rock that was in our family. So going through cancer, going through chemotherapy, getting the diagnosis that I had was very different than any other medical obstacle that I had faced in my life before. This was the first time when something came that I wasn't expecting, when I least expected it, and something that I didn't know what the outcome would be. And you feel a lot of loss of control. And so what I've realized now in the survivorship time for me, priorities. What are my priorities? I try to spend a lot less time stressing. I don't worry about the small stuff as much as I ever used to, which is fantastic. I don't let others get to me, and I try not to waste my time on what's not important. So for those of you that have gone through this process, the thought that you're going to go through this battle and that you may or may not survive really helps you refocus. And I've actually had to choose my priorities on many levels. And so I've had to think about things from on a physical level, my social level, emotional, and professional. Physically, I have trouble lifting my kids. I barely could lift my kids, especially during chemotherapy because of the fatigue. Now I at least can lift one of them, maybe not Will, but I'm back to lifting Zoe. But the whole idea of being a mom and undergoing chemotherapy, I realized that, you know what, it's okay if I'm not cleaning the bathroom today, or if I'm not running around to the grocery store. I need to save my energy to be able to take my daughter to the park. And so sort of readjusting my frame of mind when it came to my physical health was really important and continues to be. Socially, it's all about spending time with those you love. And so I try not to stress about, did I make it to every single party and event and social outing? Because what matters now is the time that I have with those that I love. Emotional support, very important to prioritize those. When you're going through this process, and even in survivorship, there are so many emotions that go on that finding those around you that really understand and support you, it's invaluable. And then, of course, professional. So I love my job. That's all that I had worked towards my entire life, becoming a physician. I love being an educator and a neonatologist. But I realized that physically, in this era of my life, it's getting harder and harder. So I continue to take a step back, unfortunately, from my clinical work, and I'm focused now on more of my education and administrative work. Definitely something that's still hard to deal with because I love what I do clinically, but I've had to make choices now because as much as I think many of us out there, whether you're a mom or a dad, a professional, a healthcare provider, or a patient, you want to do it all. And you know what? As much as we think we can do it all, we may not be superheroes, but if we prioritize, we can do everything that matters, and that's what's important. So I wanted to just, first of all, before I wrap up, say thank you to all of the providers out there that take care of patients. And I want to say thank you to all the survivors out there, because I know you support each other, and your family supports you. So I think it's time for a round of applause for all the survivors that are there. Could you guys stand up?
So Dr. Arnold has graciously agreed to answer some questions that were submitted in advance.
Thank you.
So as a mom, wife, neonatologist, and co-star of The Little Couple, how do you find time to relax and live a healthy lifestyle? Do you have any advice for others on making health a priority despite a busy schedule?
So that's a tough one and a good one. So as I mentioned, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is about prioritizing. And so I've really had to make choices that are difficult to be able to make sure I'm taking care of my health, being able to take care of my family and enjoy my career and my family. And I think I've let some things go. Like I said, I've had to step down a little bit from being so clinically active. But what I'm realizing when I'm stepping down from one thing, I'm gaining in others. And so my goal is that I am able to hopefully eat healthier, although I really like potato chips. And that's pretty much what got me through chemotherapy. Our family right now is trying to focus on eating well, taking walks together, and not forgetting to take care of each other and our health, which we weren't doing a good job when we were running around like crazy people.
Thank you. So this may be related. The question is, are there any daily rituals, practices, or thoughts that empower or encourage you when facing challenges related to your health?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that I do, I don't know if it's a daily ritual, but when I'm faced with a really big challenge, for example, every time I've had surgery, when I had my cancer diagnosis, One of the things that I do is a little bit of, it's almost like a meditation process. I sort of close my eyes and think to myself, can I envision myself in the next stage of life? Can I envision myself getting past this very big obstacle? So, whether it's waking up in the OR, when I was younger, it was, becoming a doctor. Can I imagine myself graduating from college? And, whatever that next big thing is that you're looking forward to, I sort of meditate on that and I make it become real in my mind. And that helps me, somewhat emotionally and psychologically feel like I can get through this. I'm going to get through this, because that next big thing that I really want to do or want to achieve can really happen.
So thank you again for your time and
thank
for
you.
sharing so much of yourself.